this Hi, this is John Simonson, Wild Rivers Trout Unlimited chapter, and today we have Alex Faber with the Superior Rivers Watershed Association. She's the executive director, and she's going to tell us all about the Superior Rivers Watershed Association. And I will mention a lot of our Wild Rivers chapter members, like myself, are also members of the Superior Rivers Watershed Association. Welcome, Alex.
Thanks, John.
And I'd love
Um,
to hear all about the Superior Rivers Watershed Association. So I'll turn it over to you.
awesome. Yeah. Um, yeah, like John said, I'm Alex Faber. I'm executive director of the Superior Rivers Watershed Association, and we're a very small nonprofit in Ashland, Wisconsin. And we're so small that we do, in fact, have four staff members, but I am a half-time executive director, which means that really all of us serve all the different functions of bookkeeper, janitor, speechwriter, running programs, all half-time. But we do have, like I said, four of us, so I'm there with three other amazing people that pull off our water quality coordinating, education, and restoration. They all have unique specialties that help make everything happen. Um, so we're based in Ashland, small nonprofit that's been here since 2002, and we work across Wisconsin's Lake Superior Basin to promote and protect the clean water resources here. It can take a lot of forms, and it has over the last 20 some years, but in recent years, it looks most heavily like building watershed stewards through citizen science water quality monitoring and the work that comes with that. Uh, Sorry, trying to click through my notes here. So we were founded as the Bad River Watershed Association. Started primarily on the Bad River, so on this map, that's just the blue sub-watersheds there. So the Bad River watershed includes the Potato River, the Tyler Forks River, the White River, the Marengo, and the Upper Bad. There is the Lower Bad River there. We've been primarily working on those other five sub-watersheds. And in 2015, we expanded our area to include the Montreal River, Fish Creek, and up the Bayfield Peninsula, and we are continuing to work westward as we expand our volunteer base. Since the beginning, so since 2002, we've really been founded on our water quality monitoring program. The goal is to involve citizens in gathering information necessary to support informed decision making that will maintain and improve the integrity of our watershed for future generations. Right now, that means that we have over 50 volunteers monitoring about 29 sites from the Montreal River at our easternmost edge to Horseshoe Creek up in Herbster in the north to the White River on Pike Road down in the southwest. And what this looks like in practice is macroinvertebrate sampling twice a year. So we go out for a 2 week window in May and for a 2 week window in September. And our volunteers partake in training once every 2 years so that they learn how to track 500 feet, 300 feet upstream of the road crossing at their assigned road. They record a site assessment, they take some habitat observations, and then systematically start collecting at least 125 macroinvertebrates from the stream. And for me, this is the most exciting part of what we do. It's the most visible part of what we do. And this is really kind of where stewards of our water are born. This is where the average person who has no knowledge of fish or biology, like myself, I started monitoring as a volunteer in 2019, and I had no idea the society of creatures that were living under the water, just climbing around and stuff. It was the most magical experience. And this is where people really start to come to love where they live in a different way. I think we all love where we live. So the next step is then we organize into group sessions to sort and identify those macroinvertebrates. We just finished that up. Right now we're in June of 2025. Um, we sort through all the samples, we get them identified down to the family level, and then we send them to some expert volunteers who then cross-check all of that. And from there, those samples are then disseminated into an HBI score, which is the Hilsenhoff Biotic Index. And it's one of many indices which tells you the quality of the water. We use this to identify like macroinvertebrates which are able to withstand high pollution and macroinvertebrates which withstand less pollution, and gives us an idea of our water quality. The not so secret is that our water up here is fantastic. I think we all kind of know this. These ID sessions are really fun. It's a lot of sorting through bugs in the lab. This is kind of what it looks like. The other part of what we do with water quality monitoring is chemical and physical sampling. So on those 29 sites, we have some dedicated volunteers that go out once a month on the same day each month and sample all year long, except for sometimes in the winter when it's frozen over. And they collect pH, temperature, dissolved oxygen, turbidity, and chloride measurements on their sites all year long. What we're currently working on is synthesizing our data into watershed report cards. So we've produced these in the past. They're definitely available on our website. You can go and take a look at some of those scores of what our streams and rivers have gotten through HBI scores and just through data of temperature, chloride, dissolved oxygen, all those things. Um, the reports that are on our website are a little dense. We're working on synthesizing this into something a little bit easier to understand, something that really tells that story of what our water and our streams look like. So stay tuned for some of that. A huge portion of the concept of citizen science, which is the big part of that water quality monitoring program, is not just collecting the data and having the data, but it's also involving average people and average community members into the process. So it's an important way for people to develop a sense of ownership over what goes on in their water, but also to engage them in the complexities of ecosystems that exist. Like, I did not know that there were macroinvertebrates underneath the water until I got out there and was doing the citizen science. So getting people outside to explore nature is a huge part of our work and part of the foundation of our education program. And this program has developed over the years too. Right now, a huge portion of our education program is working with the Lake Superior Estuarine Research Reserve. We work with their Rivers to Lake program to support teachers and educators in the region. So Rivers to Lake really focus on teachers in the places that they teach. It's a year-long professional training, mentorship, and support program for a cohort of 8 to 12 teachers usually. So we work with the Lake Superior Estuarine Research Reserve, which is based in Superior, and we help follow these teachers for a full school year and help teach them how to teach outdoors, how to teach environmental education about water, about estuaries, about fish, and we work with them throughout the entire school year. The Lake Superior Estuarine Research Reserve is based in Superior, and by having a staff member here in Ashland at Superior Rivers, we're able to support the teachers in our region as well as they support the teachers up in Duluth and Superior. So it's a really nice partnership. The goals of the program are incorporating local examples of teaching, like geography lessons, estuary maps, things that are important for various perspectives to provide support, capacity, and confidence to do outdoor learning in school forests, in estuaries, on playgrounds. It's been a really successful program over the years. And because of the work that we've been doing, we've been able to support 5 teachers in our region this year. And what that ends up looking like is really fun dynamics of taking like the class that's currently in Madeline Island went for a field trip to Port Wing and went paddling in Bark Bay with the students from South Shore School. And those students were able to go and take a field trip to Madeline Island. Or we had a Ashland school field trip down to the state park south of Ashland and going macroinvertebrate sampling down there. Other parts of our education program include the much beloved Science on Tap here in Ashland. So on the third Tuesday of every month at the Alley, we host some topic about science where a scientist or an expert talks about that. We've had talks on the science of brewing, we've had geology of the region, um, had robotics, a whole variety of different science talks. It's a really good time. You get to drink beer and listen to somebody talk about something they're passionate about. We also host field trips and workshops. We host them frequently throughout the summer, and they're also led by local experts and volunteers. We try to get a broad range of topics which interest our community and membership and correspond with other projects we're working on. Which leads me into the next part of our program, the logical next step of once we know our water quality and we've helped educate our community, is helping to restore our water or to help keep it that way, like keep it clean, keep it quality. We've been doing restoration projects since 2004. We've completed over 25 projects since the program launched, and many of these projects have been road stream crossings or culvert upgrades. Over the years, we served a vital purpose helping the townships grant write and manage projects to replace culverts, because that's a skill that a lot of townships don't have the capacity for, but every single township has a lot of culverts that are important for getting water through safely, getting cars over safely, getting fish through. Culverts make a huge deal in our region. Our last culvert replacement finished up in 2019, and we're very thankful that the Great Lakes Trout Unlimited National has kind of stepped in and done a lot of work with culverts in our region. Since then, we've been kind of shifting our restoration program a little bit as our community and partners and members of the region need something different. So right now, that's kind of taking the form of an invasive cattail removal project. So in Fish Creek and Prentice Park in Ashland, we are currently working on a project funded by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to remove up to 13 acres of invasive cattail, reseeding with native species, informed by the Ganawanindawag, which is a plant. It's a planting guide developed by Glyphwick and the Lake Superior National Estuarine Research Reserve. So the goal in Fish Creek and Prentice Park is to create a more diverse habitat, which supports bird species and other things that are living here, because the cattail really creates this big, um, it just takes over everything, and there's no opportunity for anything else to live there. We're also working on a natural flood management and risk assessment project with a variety of partners in the region. So we're working with Wisconsin Wetlands Association, Northwest Regional Planning Commission, Glyphwick, the Lake Superior Estuarine Research Reserve, again, and many other partners to work on assessing flood risk in the White River watershed, the Fish Creek watershed, the Montreal River watershed, and Nemadji River watersheds, and then find out opportunities where flood risk can be reduced for the local townships. So there's a lot of risk for flood in our region. We know that we've had a lot of floods in the recent past. Um, some of the things on my slide here are examples of flood risk that we see in the region, such as headwater incision, landslide potential, deposition and channel change, hydrologic alterations. Excuse me. And all this work was recently done in the Marengo River watershed by Wisconsin Wetlands Association and Ashland County. And we're really working to help them propagate this to more watersheds and be able to bring this information to our townships and our communities to be able to make informed decisions about how to improve waterways and road crossings and to survive potential floods. This will also help establish a unified approach that they started working on in the Marengo River and be able to actually build that capacity across the region. An example of some of this natural flood management to help reduce this risk is a project that we've been helping out with. Ashland County has been working on a Toady Creek Ravine floodplain project. That's quite a mouthful. Um, but it was a channel that was deeply incised, and they were working on getting the water level back to a healthy area, and trying to do it with natural means, such as putting in log structures, which would replicate what a beaver dam is like. This is an area way up in the headwaters, helped helping to try to make it so that way the channel doesn't keep getting dug down. So we've been helping doing water quality monitoring there and helping plant some of the plants. Um, we're hoping that work like this is what can come out of this natural flood risk assessment and coming up with different management options. That was my really fast nutshell of the work that we do with water quality monitoring, restoration, and education. um, with our small but mighty staff. We are that four-person team with over 50 volunteers and a membership of we've been staying over 200. And we're really proud of what we've accomplished in the last 20 some years. We'll be approaching our 25th anniversary in a couple years. Um, and we really think that we're making a difference towards creating a community of citizens that are stewards of their watersheds. But ultimately, we're just connecting people, land, and water. It's what we do best, and it's what we enjoy. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Alex. That was great. And I will say Superior Rivers Watershed Association has done a fabulous job throughout the area and really connected a lot of people with the streams and the land in the area. And thank you for that. I'd also like to mention that on the Marengo, where the landslides, and you had a couple photos there of that, we will be on the Marengo Wild River Trout Unlimited long in the Lincoln Community Forest on July 7th and 8th, along with the DNR. And we're going to be cutting trees and putting them along the banks where it's totally eroded, like you showed in that one video. It's
Wonderful.
totally washed out. So we know and then in 2026, Wild River will be donating the trees that they're going to plant throughout that area. And that's owned by Landmark Conservancy, but it's the
Okay.
Lincoln Community Forest. So again, working together, we both were working together, I think, with the same visions. And I appreciate you doing this tonight, Alex. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, John.